You'll notice the magic scene change here. I have my Melon Mambo ink pad to match my Melon Mambo cardstock, and I have a piece of a Stampin' sponge. And these sponges come in big rounds like this, and what I do is just take a big pair of scissors and then go ahead and cut off little chunks, because I think you may have heard me say before, if you watch my videos, I'm kind of a lazy stamper, and I'm not a big fan of like going to the sink and washing my sponges, so I kind of like to have them devoted to certain colors, and when you only get 3 in a package, that would be a lot of big sponges laying around. So I'm going to just work my sponge back and forth in my ink pad. And you'll notice for sponging, I'm starting off the edge of my piece of cardstock and dragging that onto my piece of cardstock. And that way the color ends up nice and dark on the edges, but not so, there's no big blurbs where it came onto the cardstock too dark. So, and it makes a really cool flower pattern. So that seems like it should be part of a card, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do this to all 3 of my vintage wallpaper fun flowers. And then I'm going to, this actually, it highlights the edges of the flowers so that it makes them real nicely set apart. And then I'm going to go ahead and just work the edges of the flowers against my finger like this to go ahead and bend the petals up. And these flowers are meant to layer inside each other. So I'm going to go ahead and layer those. Then I'm going to grab one of my So Sweet buttons in Early Espresso here. There's a good one. And a piece of linen thread, and cut about 10 inches or so of linen thread to go with my project. And then I'm going to use mini glue dots and stick this all together. And through the magic of television, we have a nice flower. This flower is very similar to one that we received from our service account managers at Stampin' Up. We got these fabulous notebooks. They're quilted, or weekly planner, quilted planner with little Stampin' Up logo on the bottom, and a very, you'll notice, similar kind of flower. So thank you to our Sams, but that is part of the program that you get to be part of when you earn the Stampin' Up incentive trip, or the cruises. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and go back to our petal dies here, and I told you before I have a whole bunch. Only on the front one am I going to cut those off. The rest of these I'm going to go ahead and leave on, as I toss that across the rim, and fold these, because these are going to be our pages here. Now, I also have a piece of designer series paper from the Celebration pack. This is from Ice Cream Parlor, and I cut a piece to fit right across here. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors to chop this off too. And I absolutely love having the long bladed ribbon scissors. They really make it easy to do straight lines across long distances. This is going to fit on our here. But before we do that, we're going to add some of the super fabulous pom-pom trim. And so what I'm going to do here is take a piece of sticky strip, and I'm going to put this right across the very, very bottom edge of our paper. And there we go. See how that works? Right at the very edge. And then what I'm going to do is peel this off and take my pom-pom trim. And the pom-pom trim has a pom-pom edge and a stitched binding. And what I'm going to do is take my binding and put the binding right along the edge there in the sticky strip. See how that goes? And I find it easiest to do from the front so you can kind of see what you're doing. And then I'm going to trim off my pom-pom. Oof, there we go. Okay. And then we already have some sticky strip on there, so I'm going to go ahead and take my snail adhesive and stick the rest of that down, being sure to press right along that seam, or that edge there. We have our piece right here with our flower, and we need to make that banner, which comes amazingly from the die right here. And for the banner, I have an Early Espresso ink pad and one of the fabulous Celebration stamp sets that you can choose for free when you order $50 of Stampin' Up! Product into the end of March. And I'm going to use the Thinking of You and this little heart stamp here. So we'll grab these. I've got my stamp here. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this right on the edge there. And oh, cardstock has two sides, so I often like to try it out on both sides. There we go, it's a little more centered. And I'm gonna use my Melon Mambo again. Now you probably know this, but each ink pad is really good for about 2 or 3 different colors of stamping. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a technique called stamping off. I'm gonna stamp once, twice, and then the third time on my project. So you can see how the ink gets lighter as you go along. And then I have my little thinking of you stamp. And this I'm going to curl against my finger like that. Okay, to really help to get a nice bend there for our piece. And then this I'm going to attach here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to actually put a piece of sticky strip on here because I don't want our cute little flag to get lost. So I'm going to peel that backing off, and then I'm going to kind of turn this the way I want it to be and position this. Okay, so now that's stuck down on the back. And then because our flower has a whole lot of layers of cardstock, it's probably pretty heavy with all the button on there and all our goodies and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and just put some sticky strip across the back here just to give our flower a little extra support and make sure that it doesn't come off of our cute project here. So have I told you what we're making yet? I'm not sure if I did or not. This one's actually going to be a cute Valentine's Day gift, or you could make it for any occasion. Mother's Day would be another good choice. All right, so we have our tag here, and I'm actually going to flip the other end of that one that way. Okay, because now I can go ahead and attach our next layer. Now this is going to go on top like this, and these flaps are going to be our binding to hold our book together. And I'll show you how I'm putting the first one on. All I'm going to do is fold that flap over, run sticky strip down the edge of it, cut that off, and go ahead, peel the backing, and layer our pages of our book together. I know you're thinking, wait, that's a book? How's that going to work? But what we're going to do is we're going to take the next one and layer it here, and the next one and layer it here, so that we'll have a big album when we're all set. And let me show you what that's going to look like. Here's what the book looks like with photos in it. So here's our first one, and the second one, and then the third one I'll show you, because when you have a photo and you're trying to figure out how to size this to put it onto your page, that can be pretty tricky. So here's my tip. Go ahead and take the leftover piece from the Petal die when you cut that out, and go ahead and lay it on top of your picture. There you go, so you can see where it's going to be. Now remember, we cut that piece off the very front of our book. You're going to want to use this because you actually don't get all that space. You need to put this back in there so that you know where the book is going to end, where the page is going to end. And then just take a pen and trace around. The last thing I'm going to do is add a piece of trim from the Ice Cream Parlor Designer Series Accents and Elements. And this is one of the celebration items also that you can choose for free. So when you order $50 in February. And I love this stuff. It's repositionable. It's like the Simply Scrappin' kits. And if you haven't used those, I highly recommend them. I love Simply Scrappin' kits. So I'm just going to eye that and trim it off there and run this up the edge and then trim off the top part. And I'll stick this just back on our sheet to use again later. And one of the other cool gifts that you can get for celebration is these Ice Cream Parlor buttons that match the ribbon. And so I'm just going to grab one of these pink ones, and of course they match everything here. And where my glue dots go. Okay, found them. I'm going to go ahead and stick one of these on. If you haven't seen this trick, all you do is you press your button down onto the glue dot. Try not to throw it, but then the glue dot sticks to your button, and you don't have to try and peel them off your fingernails. So there's our last little picture. And when we finish the entire album, we have our little message on the last page. So this would make a great Valentine present, or a great Mother's Day gift, or birthday present, or anything along those lines. But it uses a Petal die, which is really, really flexible. It's a terrific die, and I'm really enjoying playing with it. So thanks very much for watching the tutorial. If you have any questions, you can check my website or my blog. Happy stamping!